Jennifer, hey, congratulations with Hotel Transylvania Transformia.
Thank you so much.
So tell us your path on boarding this project for yourself.
Oh, yeah. Like, you mean the whole history of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've had a long history with the Hotel T franchise. I was sort of here right at the beginning when it was many different iterations and when Gendy came on, and then boarded on all the subsequent movies. And so when they came to me for four, it was it was sort of amazing.
So yeah, Gendy directed three movies, and it's big shoes to fill. How did you want to basically follow Gendy's past films and also make this as your own?
I think the Hotel T Transylvania franchise has such a very strong DNA, and it's sort of linked in two things. One of them is the style of the comedy and the filmmaking, which is to take, very sort of everyday banal situations and very simple family dynamics and put this amazing monster, very fantastical lens on it. So that's really the comedic engine of the movie. And then the visual engine is the other one. And that's the one that Gendy really pioneered, with really making sure these films honor traditional animation and strong posing and physical comedy and just really, joyous, just pratfalls and fun. And so those were the two things that we really wanted to obviously maintain in the fourth movie going forward. And then also, we're going to be saying goodbye to these characters, so also bringing an additional level of emotion and finality, and sort of bringing the characters full circle on their journey, which in a satisfying way is the other really great thing.
Well, you worked on this entire franchise throughout. How does this make you feel that it's the final film?
I mean, coming back to this movie was sort of like putting on a warm blanket. It's so great to hang out with these characters. Excuse me. And I think the heart of, the finality for me has always been Drac. You're following this very flawed character through these different phases of his life. And the thing that I really reacted, positively and strongly to was Drac's a character who is obsessed with control. And that's where a lot of the comedy comes from, where things just go very wrong for him. And so because he's also a very powerful character, what happens when we take all of that control and all of that power away? So making him a human and seeing him experience, life through that lens was the thing for me that I was always the most excited about and wanted to explore.
Now, speaking of Drac, you recruited a Brian Hull, which I met before. I think I met him when he was a YouTuber and a master of voices.
Yes.
So tell us about settling on Brian Hull as the new voice for Drac for this.
Well, Brian has actually also a history with the franchise as well. We've gone to Brian for work in the past as Drac on some video games things as well. And so he was always on our radar with Drac, and we did sort of cast a wide net in looking, and we kind of always just came back to Brian because he had just something about that vulnerability and wanting to do well and wanting things to go his way, and it all going wrong in a way that was always so funny and endearing and heartfelt, which is what Drac wants out of life. He wants his family to be protected and happy, and he's just going about it the wrong way. And Brian, especially as a human, when we sort of take him on this journey, just embodied that in a way that was really just charming.
Now, I guess one of the most difficult things on this animation is to come up with not new characters, but human transformations.
Yes.
Could you tell us about the steps towards that direction?
So I think there was lots of steps of who's transforming, when, how, and there was a version of the movie early on where only Johnny was transforming, and it was sort of his attempt to fit in with like the family and Drac's ideal of his ideal son-in-law. And then very quickly we were like, you know what, it feels like these movies are always sort of around Drac's journey. We need his journey to be just as interesting as Johnny, so Drac sort of comes on board. And the Drac Pack were a bit of a later addition to that whole idea, but once that clicked in, it felt like, yes, that's the movie. The movie is about change and transforming. And the tricky thing is with, Drac looks the same, like he is the same character. Johnny is sort of the big switch. We've never seen a Johnny monster before, but we've been living with the Drac Pack for now 4 movies. So how do you take these characters who you love and have been tracking and also feel equally engaged with them as humans? And so there was always the push and pull of what's the funny joke with them, the visual joke versus, how we're going to feel about these as our characters. And there was the push and pull there a lot. And some of them ended up factoring in more naturally than others. Like, it naturally made sense that you've got Frankenstein's monster, who's like assembly of weird body parts, that he would be just the ridiculously handsome, character. That seemed to work. And then, the idea of Wayne not being recognizable to his kids, who have been this foil for him for again, the 3 movies, that seemed to be the natural push there. And Griffin with the, we've only ever seen his glasses, the Invisible Man, we've only ever seen his glasses. And so we're like, okay, well, why is that? And like, well, the reason is that he's like a casual nudist, and he's always been like that. But the 2 characters who were a little bit trickier were Murray and Blobby. And we went through a couple different jokes with Murray, and where we eventually landed was that he is, he's a mummy. He's, mythologically speaking, there's an ancient person in there. It's like, okay, well, let's make him ancient. And that seemed like a fun direction to go with him. And Keegan was like just great on embodying that character. Then the last one was Blobby. And Blobby really, for a while, could have been everything. There was lots of talk of maybe Blobby's handsome, maybe he's not a human at all, and how would that look? And eventually someone just said, and I think it actually was Gendy, said like, well, maybe he's just jelly. He's just a plate of jelly. That's all he is. And that was, when you're tracking that many characters in a sequence, like, yep, he's just jelly and he's along for the ride.
Wow, that is amazing. Well, I don't want to say goodbye to the Drac Pack, but we have to. So, Jennifer, hey, thank you very much for doing Hotel Transylvania 4, and appreciate speaking to us about this.
Oh, thanks so much.
Hey, thank you. Bye.
Have a good one.